Here we go. 2025 is over, and on this episode, we give you the best of Knicks Fan TV as told through the top Knicks stories of 2025, plus our top interviews, and we cap it off with the celebration of 100,000 subscribers. On behalf of the entire Knicks Fan TV family, we want to thank you for your support through this year, and we want to wish you and your family a healthy and happy new year. Let's go Knicks. 5 years in, going into year 5. Who's one of the toughest players you had to guard coming into this thing?
Man. Man, a lot of tough dudes for sure. A lot of tough dudes. TJ's tough. SGA's tough. Steph, of course. Steph because of all the illegal screens.
Draymond, we talking to you.
But obviously he's a special player, but those screens, not easy getting through.
Draymond is playing football out there. He's playing football out there, right? So you know, even like 2 years ago, like I remember that big game you had in Golden State where you went toe to toe with the chef. When you know in that assignment, like you come in and like I'm starting. What's that preparation like for you? Is it more film? Like what's the preparation for you for going into a game?
It's funny because I remember I told my family I was gonna start that game, and I remember my brother and my dad sent me clips on clips of stuff.
Man, YouTube links like yo, check this.
And it's but yeah, definitely just try to lock in even more, obviously, because stopping them, you know, you're cutting off the head to the snake. So doing that is always the goal. But you know, I try to every game prepare my best.
Yeah, 100. Absolutely, man. You know, one of the memorable sound bites from you last year, when we talk about a guy, we talk about Summer League, you were talking to Ariel Hukporti on the court and talking to him about earning his spot and not wasting time, whether, you know, some people may see it as garbage time, but not wasting those minutes, seizing that opportunity. What was that mindset like for you, you know, in your journey? This is year 5 for you. What's that mindset like for you?
Man, just never taking it for granted. I mean, I'm blessed. I'm able to play a sport I love and, you know, take care of my family. Just had a daughter, so.
Congratulations, fatherhood. Clap it up. Clap it up. What's your daughter's name, bro?
Ace.
Ace. Give it up for Ace, man. Bless.
Yeah, so, you know, my motivation is different now. And, you know, just trying to not take it for granted, cherish every moment, and, like I said, leave it all out there.
Yeah. And if we go back a couple of years, your journey, it was up and down. It's with the team, it's in Westchester with the team. Was there any particular person or teammate that was helping you kind of get through those tumultuous times?
I mean, honestly, all my teammates were great. You know, the staff was great the whole time, front office, family, of course, I'm leaning on, and God most of all. I'm leaning on Him. You know, trusting my work, understanding just to stay patient and it'll all pay off.
We started the year you got drafted, June of 2017. We started the channel. And so we were covering all of that. When Melo got traded, when he came back, when Beasley started cooking. And as I say, you know, through those tough years, we covered and we did postgame after every game. You know, y'all went 29 and 53, 17 and 65. We was here live after every game talking about it. What was it like from your perspective? It was a lot of losing, man. A lot of losing. What was that like from your perspective and your mentals just trying to get through?
Man, you know, it was a great group of guys, bro. We had a bunch of young guys that year, you know. I think it was, Kevin Knox.
Knox was there.
Mitchell Robinson, Lonzo Trier, me, Frank. Who else? Lance Thomas. Was C leading them still here?
Courtney Lee that year. I gotta double check the roster. If Courtney Lee was there.
Yeah, I think, but I know we were young. I know we had a young backcourt, bro. And man, we was just grinding, bro. For real. You know, Fizdale, Keith Smart, man, we was in the lab, bro. I can't say that we wasn't doing what we needed to do. You know what I mean? We were working. It just wasn't being displayed on the court, man. We go hard. We get extra shots up. We was conditioning right. We was doing all the right things, bro. It was just, I don't think we had the pieces and we wasn't ready yet. You know what I mean? It was tough on Fizz because, yeah, of course he wanted us to play well, but like you got to think about the tools that you have in your toolbox. Are they all equipped to be successful and work on the job and get the job done? So not saying that we wasn't ready or we wasn't good players. We just needed a little sharpening it up to do, man. And a lot of the guys that you see now, bro, are probably better players. You know what I mean? Have better mentalities because of that. You know, it was a tough season, bro. We had a lot of talks. We had a lot of meetings, a lot of leadership going on. But, you know, it's hard to win in the league, bro. It's hard. You know what I mean? And we were young. Everybody come in the garden, they want to play well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like we got some good wins that year too.
Yeah.
But we lost a lot. So, you know what I mean, man? Like I said, again, shout out to all the guys that was on that squad, man. We experienced it together. Whether it's bad or good, man, every experience is great.
Yeah.
But like I said, man, Fizdale gave me a chance to hoop. Keith Smart, all those guys trusted me. You know what I mean? Joe Busher, my guy. You know what I mean? Those guys gave me a chance to hoop, man. So that was my best year, I think. Even though we were bad,
sophomore year.
I think that was my best year, man. Once Tim and C. Lee and all them got traded, I want to say I kind of took off and started hooping that next year. So, you know what I mean? It was an opportunity, bro, and I'm glad I got that opportunity, you know what I mean? So shout out to them. But it was definitely a learning experience, bro. You know what I mean? Just to stay locked in and focused while you losing those games and still showing up.
Yeah.
You know, and not quitting, still showing up, man. Even if we was getting beat bad or if we lost 5 and 10 in a row, we were still showing up. We were still grinding. So, man, like I said, big salute to all the guys from that team, the coaches, the training staff, the GM, Steve Mills, Scott Perry, those guys, man. They all believed in us. We didn't make it work, but, you know, we definitely grinded it out.
So you felt like Fizdale had you prepared because, you know, obviously from the outside looking in with all the losses, fans are like, man, what's going on in practice? What's this guy doing? He's trying to get these guys right, but they're not right.
Hey, me, the summertime workouts, the running, the open gyms. I don't know if you heard about the open gyms we were having at that time.
No. What was that like?
All the guys. So we'll go to Columbia University and, you know what I mean, you come hoop. Melo would come. You know what I mean? My guy, Kyle Kuzma pulled up. A lot of guys would come hoop with us. And, you know what I mean? After that, you had to run suicides. So we'll do it as a team. This one, Bobby Portis and Julius had just got there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we were going at it. And in that time, we was on the line running. Man, that was probably my best, you know what I mean? That was my best summer, I think. I was in shape. I was hitting the treadmill. And it was all like that Miami Heat air exposure feel, body fat and all that stuff, man. So, like I said, the toolbox wasn't fully sharpened, wasn't fully equipped, but all the tools that Fizdale has is there. You know what I mean? The right motivation is there, the right tools and the right, you know what I mean, the preparation for the games and you being on your A game is there. But at that time, we were young, we wasn't ready yet. You know what I mean? If we would have stuck it out a little bit longer, got some pieces and, you know what I mean, believed in the core that was there, maybe, but who knows, you know? But at that time, I feel like that was the top of my game, and the numbers showed, the opportunity showed, and the experience showed.
You mentioned Courtney Lee. You mentioned Lance Thomas. Was there any particular player that was kind of like that locker room leader that was trying to galvanize you guys through a lot of the adversity? Who was that guy?
Man, of course, man. In that time, bro, C. Lee for sure. Lance Thomas, 100%. And I want to say Marcus Morris was on that team.
Yeah, Mook was there. Mook was balling out.
Mook was there. He got traded, but Mook was there. He was balling out. He gave me some great advice at the time, you know. He was like, Dot, just shoot it, bro. Nobody blocking three-point shots. Just let it go. You know, ain't nobody blocking three-point shots but Mitchell Robinson.
Nah, I was just going to say, just Mitch.
Just let it go. He was like, just let it go, bro. And that helped me a lot, man. I shot really good that year. You know what I mean? Just confidently letting it go. Like, nobody going – I'm watching him do his pull-ups. Nobody blocking that.
Yeah.
You know, so it was great advice from Mook just on the basketball side. But in the locker room, how he stayed composed and everything, man, just keeping us level-headed, just grinding. He was grinding with us. Lance Thomas was in there grinding with us. C. Lee was grinding with us. So, you know what I mean? It was, like I said, bro, we was working. It just didn't work out on paper. It didn't work out on the court. But if you ask anybody that was on that squad, we grinded it out for sure.
That summer of 15, when you get traded to the Knicks, what was that call like? What do you remember about that day?
Well, I knew I was okay because I was comfortable already, and I hate to say I was comfortable, but the Magic already offered me a qualifying offer, so I knew I had another year to continue to prove myself in the NBA, and I didn't have to fight tooth and nail, on that non-guaranteed contract, which I did 3 years on. So that was like a comfort. So when the Knicks had called, and I knew what they were kind of looking for, and I was like, man, I kind of fit. Like the passing big, I hope I did enough last season to kind of show that with a little bit of opportunity, I could kind of fit this triangle, especially if they really pushing it. So when they called, I never, how something is so close to home, you never really see it for yourself. Many times as I had all my friends and family come to Knicks games, Nets games, I never thought that New York would be a home for me, and it came at a perfect time. My family, we were looking for something to bring us together at the time. I knew I was doing well, and when the Knicks called, I said, boom, this is perfect, and had like 2 or 3 options, and it was a no-brainer just coming back home, man. You know what I'm saying? I knew that. I knew it would be a transition going into an offense that people say wouldn't work, but I mean, I couldn't turn down the offer, and I think that I couldn't turn down the opportunity.
Yeah, no question about it, man. I remember when they picked you up, and everybody thought the same, like, yo, this is a good fit right here. We got a nice passing big man. And by that time, we had seen you from the tournament in through those Orlando games when the Knicks would be playing Orlando. So I always thought, like, yeah, man, this is a big pickup with KOQ, man. And so when you got here, obviously there was, different coaches every year and things of that nature. Like, what was that adjustment like? Just dealing with kind of the organizational instability at the time.
Well, I came from a small market, family-owned organization where things were handled accordingly. Not saying Knicks do it wrong, they just do it. They do it different. Big market, big city, bright lights. Beat writers all in the locker room after game, win, lose, or draw. Media day looked a little different. It was just a lot different for me coming from Orlando. You got to think I come from a small school.
Yeah, right.
Small market.
Yeah.
And now, we taking, private plane from Westchester to Vegas, and there's more media in Vegas at Summer League. It was just a lot. So I think that it was a learning curve, but also you had to learn, what the Knicks were trying to do that time. So it was a lot all in 1 year. And I think that I handled it the best way I could. I think winning always helps everything, right? But when you start tallying them losses and then, you start hearing this, you start hearing that, everybody's on the trading block.
Yeah.
It was a little different for me, trying to navigate all that kind of stuff. You got to think it was me and Mickey Mouse.
Right.
Out in Disneyland. We was good. We was chilling. We going to Disney, whole team riding out. This was much different. And I think I handled it the best way. I think that the organization, had some great people to help guys navigate New York City. Shout out to the late Chris Bernard, who, pivotal role in a lot of guys' careers. And we hate to have seen him gone, but he helped out everybody transitioning in New York. He knew the city, he knew the organization. So a lot of love and respect for him. But it was just different. And first time playing with a true superstar, too. So now you got Carmelo Anthony in your locker room, who's a great guy, true superstar, people's person. And it's like, okay, cool, But then you got that dynamic of, you got Phil, you got Melo, you got KP coming in as the new hottest thing. It's just like, you just trying to set your screens, get some offensive rebounds. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully we win, and your plus minus is solid.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So it's
100%.
just a lot navigate trying to get to your role, but I did the best I could, and I think I did a pretty good job.
They'll have a little bit more money when the cap goes up, and they'll have the opportunity to get a veteran who's a little bit better than what they have. So you try to shore up the bench a little bit. But that's how they can build it.
Going to be good enough to be better than Boston?
Well, we'll have to see how they match up in the second round.
So I think now, after this whole discussion, we've been talking for 17 minutes. This whole discussion, I think this is why the Knicks fan feels the way that they feel.
Yeah.
It's because I don't want to say it's hopeless, because anything can happen in sports, right? But it almost feels that way.
Look, it takes time. Hey, how many years of the Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown tandem did it take for Boston to win a championship?
Yeah, but
we just had 2 years ago when they lost to Golden State saying you should break those two guys up.
But do the Knicks have that? They have that much runway. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like Tatum and Brown were young.
They were young.
Like, really young.
I think the Knicks are still young. Josh Hart is, of those starters, he's the oldest at 30. Right? You still have all these guys that are under 30. Mikal Bridges' contract year will be coming up. They just signed OG. They just signed Jalen. So I think they have a little bit of runway. And the things that they will need is bench upgrades. Their young draft picks that they drafted this past year, in particular, Pacome Dottier. Kolek is cool. He's all right as a backup point guard. They've got to hope that Dottier, who's at 18, 19 years old, can really take a couple levels up in these next few years. And then if not, the quickest thing to do, like every other team has done just now, bye-bye coach.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right?
That's a part of it.
That's a part of the investment.
You may even be hiring one of those departed coaches, if it happens like Michael Malone.
No, it won't be Michael Malone.
No?
Yeah.
Because of Thibodeau's relationship with him?
No, well, sources have told KnicksFanTV that
they don't like him?
There's not too many fans in the organization, Michael Malone.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, in his previous organization.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Okay, fair enough. That's good to know.
He was here.
Write him off the list?
Yes, I did inquire.
I'm sure you did. You're already inquiring?
Yeah.
See, you know what I don't like? And I try to put myself in
that means you don't like Tibbs?
No, I like Tibbs, but that's just the nature of the business, right? When you make this investment to put the team together like Leon Rose has, it's ultimately going to be up to the coach to get them to a certain point. Before you disband the whole thing and start over,
absolutely,
you're going to say, can we find a coach that can maximize his talent
every time,
if this guy's not doing it?
Dude, you're 1,000% right, because all you got to do is look at every other team. You put together a roster you think is good. If you don't get as far as you want to go, you change the coach. When that doesn't work, maybe you change the coach again. When that doesn't work, you blow the whole thing up.
Blow the whole thing up.
Now, we're not close to that. And to me, I think what bothers me, even though I'm not sitting here rooting for you guys, is I win 51 games. I'm the 3 seed. I'm in the playoffs for the 3rd straight year. I'm freaking fired up. I'm not overanalyzing, am I going to fire the coach if I get knocked out? Yeah. I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking, let me go beat the Pistons. Let me get to the Celtics. By the way, when I get to the Celtics, how the hell do I know Kristaps Porzingis is healthy?
Right. Jaylen Brown just got a knee injection before the playoffs
started. He's got the knee issues. So I'm not saying it's all predicated on injuries, but you don't know. Yeah. So why are we talking ourselves into this? It's impossible. Yeah, the Celtics are fully healthy. It would be tough to imagine the Knicks beating them, but so much can happen by the time we get there. And that's why the negative beliefs that I've heard from Knicks fans, I'm like, I kind of feel bad for you.
Now, quick question. You're fired up, right?
Yeah.
You have season tickets.
You're damn right.
Are you coming to game 1 or did you sell them?
I will be at game 5.
Oh, my God.
What? I needed to be at game 1?
You said that's when the juice is at its peak. Electricity in the garden. And here you go again, making a profit off of our fame and our progress.
My thing was I was just like watching clips online because anytime the Knicks lose, I go online looking to see if anybody saw what I saw. And before KnicksFanTV, there just wasn't anywhere to go. Like, I would just blow up my boy Raf's phone or blow up group chats like, yo, did you see he didn't get over the screen? Like, this guy's not helping, this guy's not rotating. And you feel insane as a Knicks fan if you don't have anyone to be like, yeah, I saw that too. And I started to see clips of yours, and your analysis was just always dead on. Like, I don't think I have ever disagreed with your analysis. The only time I can even remember being like, yo, I got to hit CP on the side and see what he thinks is like when there was all the talk about getting Donovan. And I think we were on the same page of like, yo, I love Spider, but it's just, he plays that brand of like selfish pound the pavement basketball that Kenny Atkinson has actually got him off of. But I remember us both talking like, I don't know if he's the dude to max.
Right.
You know, and it was your analysis. Like, that's what I'm here for. And then it's just been ill to watch how you don't got like a daddy. You don't got no godfather, like putting the battery in your back, opening the doors. Like, the fans elected you, dog. Like, that's been the illest shit to see for me as a fan. Is like, usually there's people representing a team you love and they're not the person you nominated or you elected. And it's like, no, we voted for CP and CP won. You know?
Yeah, no, I definitely appreciate it, man. We just crossed 90,000 subscribers at the time of this recording, and it's rewarding, man, because we get a lot of those same sentiments, like just fans looking for that platform of that person who kind of voices their opinion the same way, or just a platform where after the game it's like, man, like, did somebody feel how I felt on this player? Did somebody feel the way that I felt about how we handled this game? Or was somebody as, through the roof as me when we won that game? You know what I mean? It's just...
And your comment section is like the club. Like Cormega in there.
Yeah.
Nero's
Chuck
in
D,
there.
Ron Manimal, man.
Yo, all the ill Knicks fans is there. And if you grew up, as just like a New York head, you just seeing everybody you love talking the Knicks, and everybody, it's like egalitarian.
Yeah.
Like nobody's famous in there.
Right.
It's just we just saying how we feel about the team right now.
That's what Chuck says all the time. He's like, yo, I'm just here in the fan seats. That's what Chuck D calls it, fan seats. So before our live show on postgame, he's in the chat, vibing with the people. He's on play-by-play. He's on every show. And he's a guy, he travels back and forth both coasts all the time, but he never misses a show, man. So it's that type of dedication from the fan base that puts the battery in my back to be like, yo, keep going, man, because the people love it, man.
Yeah, and my favorite shit is when we get a trade. Like, I'm on the YouTube in the live, like, yo, what you think about this trade? And it's just the best community. Like, for real, it's just where I hang out. Yeah,
you're rocking the big Ragu jersey. What's your Knicks fan origin story, by the way?
Okay, so I was born in DC. Like, my parents lived in Silver Spring, Maryland, when I was born, but it's like the DC area. Yeah. And obviously Patrick was at Georgetown, and I just followed Patrick from the Georgetown days. I was a huge Patrick Ewing fan, and from there I just stayed with him. I think maybe there was a couple years when AI was with the Sixers that I also clapped for the Sixers, but it was Knicks #1. Yeah. And then Sixers #2, I would clap for the Yao Ming Rockets because he's Chinese. Sure. But it was always Knicks #1 because of Patrick.
Yeah. That was it was, for people from our generation, like when you saw him and the way that ringless aside, the work ethic, you could never say that he cheated the game. You could never say that he took nights off. Like, you saw it. He wore it. He wore that hard work and dedication to the team, to the city, and to the jersey, man.
Yeah, and my parents are immigrants from Taiwan. So when we came, we were like looking for role models that also kind of paralleled our upbringing and the values we had. And John Thompson was that dude.
Sure. Rest in peace, man.
Yeah, rest in peace, John Thompson. And my dad always looked up to John Thompson and told me, like, yo, that's a real coach, that's a real man. And then to watch Patrick, like, grow with those lessons. Like, obviously I was super young, but he was always telling me about John Thompson and Patrick. So by the time I was like 5 or 6, I already understood, and I always rocked with Patrick and the Knicks.
Somehow this team, oh my God, sometimes slogans literally live up to every letter with the whole cardiac Knicks. It lives up to every single letter of the word, because my God, man, I'm speechless. I don't know what to say, because it's a combination of the game winner obviously is the emotional moment, but it's just the series, man. It's every game, it's every quarter, it's in the same game. You thought you had it. They come out in the first quarter, they put in an amazing first quarter, and I start saying, after one quarter, 37-23, and I'm like, yes, this is the response. This is the start that you needed to get me excited for the Boston Celtics, right? Like, what is the best case scenario after the debacle of Game 5? What would be the best case scenario for Game 6? To get the fans to forget about Game 5, to get the fans that we missed an opportunity to clinch at the Garden for the first time since June of 1999. And that was what they did in the first quarter by scoring 37 points, being up 14, had a largest lead up to 15. And you start to think as a Knicks fan early on in this game, this is not like, listen, I'm not lying to you. After the first quarter, I'm thinking about Boston. I'm already ready. I'm saying, this is how we're going to close this game out? Okay, let's do it. I'm ready for Boston now, because now they're building, they're giving you hope. And that's all you want as a fan. is hope, is excitement. You don't want to go into this Boston series thinking is good, we're going to lose in 5 or we're going to get swept. After game 5, I bet you a lot of fans were thinking that. And then there you go. You scored 22 points in the second quarter, and now we're back to, yeah, here we go again. And then this team in the second half, man, in that fourth quarter, holding the Pistons to 20 points. You talk about the game for Mikal Bridges. What in the world was Cat doing today? Where was he? And here we are in the biggest moment of the game. You see Jalen Brunson struggling a little bit there. And he got Azar Thompson, the possession before the possession. Azar Thompson beat him to the spot. And guess what? In the clutch moment, Azar Thompson used the same technique, but he rode him to the right side. And Jalen Brunson, what he did was, which was different, he went earlier in the shot clock. I understand that there was 4 seconds left after he hit the shot. But guess what? This guy, our closer, is not 6'7". And when he's being guarded by a guy that's 6'7", you need to be smart. And Brunson was smart. I understand we want, take the shot with 1 second left so they don't get a chance. But you saw what happened the possession before. The shot clock ran out and it was over. He made the whip whip. He put that young boy in the stretcher. Asar, where you at, baby? I'll bring you back over here. He put him in the blender, in the stretcher. He was barbecue chicken. He took him to the cleaners. He said, you know what? I'm going to put you in Spirit Airlines. I'm not even going to give you a steady flight.
Oof. Man was traveling all the way to Mexico, man. He went all the way to Cancun on that move.
He cooked them. And you know what I love about that play is he gave you a little bit of the He gave you the Air One. He gave a little bit of swag, pizzazz, the maestro, and then hit the 3-pointer from the center court 3, nothing but the bottom of the net. Boy, that boy Malik Beasley, he did all that yapping, right? All that talking. And then you had your moment. All that talking you did.
Damn.
And you had your moment. And I thought it was a 6'5" Mitchell Robinson.
Yo, he was like, wide open, man.
I'm not even gonna do that to my boy. You was a 6'5" Nerlens Noel. Oof. That sounds better. He had his moment, Alex.
Bro,
what happened? We couldn't even foul.
Dude.
And he choked.
First of all, saying that he choked is an understatement. I mean, that man was wide open. The Knicks do what they do best, which is leaving 3-point shooters wide open. This man was so nervous in the moment, he couldn't even handle the pass. Nobody was near that man for like 10 feet. 0. But hey, man, talk about minutes, talk about all this nonsense. Maybe you got to put down the phone during the postseason, man. Maybe you shouldn't be tweeting. Maybe you should be more locked in on the game. But hey, man, this is what clutch teams do. This is what better teams do, man. They close out.
And Kendall, tonight, obviously, a huge deal for Knicks fans.
Yeah, hey, good evening, Steve Natasha. It's a huge deal for Knicks fans, and they have shifted from hope to expectation versus the Celtics, and they're going to be a huge watch party here at Slate tonight, maybe 200 strong or so, and they're going to have their eyes on this game. And I'm going to be joined now by CP the Franchise, you have a podcast, KnicksFanTV, and you guys are waiting for the big night. Talk to me about how huge it is. I mean, Jason Tatum, he went down in Game 4, and we can expect, is that going to be a factor, or Knicks' clutch potential with Jalen Brunson? Which one's more?
Well, Kendall, over the first 3 wins, the Knicks have relied on that clutch factor, namely the Nova Knicks and Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges. But tonight, they need to come out with a full 48 minutes of basketball. The captain, Jalen Brunson, has preached that we have not seen the best of this Knicks team just yet, and so they can't keep relying on coming from behind to beat the Celtics team. While the Celtics are wounded without Jason Tatum, they have a lot of firepower, and so the Knicks have to be on guard.
And I asked you last game, Game 4, what was more, they couldn't go into a deficit, and they played 40 48 strong minutes of basketball. Do you expect to see that tonight, especially in Tatum's absence?
Oh, yes. With Peyton Pritchard and Derek White, the Celtics like to shoot the three. Jaylen Brown is still an all-star that the Knicks have to watch out for, and so they cannot let their guard down tonight. The Celtics are the champions for a reason, and the Knicks have to come to play.
And the Knicks, they have some demons that they're battling. Back in history, this has been a while, since 25 years since they've been on this type of stage, making it to the Eastern Conference Finals. They've got to battle some old demons. Do you think those creep back up mentally for the Knicks?
It certainly creeps back up for me. I can remember as a kid, 1994, the Knicks losing in the NBA Finals in a crucial, crushing Game 7. The next 4 years, not making it out of the second round. All Knicks fans remember the Patrick Ewing infamous missed finger roll, the gentleman's sweep to the hands of the Spurs in the NBA Finals. And so, while this is an exciting time, the Knicks have to take this one game at a time because this could be a special season for them.
Is there a deficit cap? Is there a deficit cap? Do you have a certain amount of points that you cannot let the Celtics take before this game gets out of hand?
Well, the Knicks have showed that there's no deficit too strong for them to come back from. But as I said, I like to see the Knicks jump out to a hot start. Jalen Brunson, Karl-Anthony Towns leading the way. One of the things I liked in Game 3 was that the Knicks, in Game 4 rather, was that the Knicks were able to rebound the ball decisively against the Celtics team. And so Towns, Mitchell Robinson, getting after it on the boards will limit the Celtics from getting those second chance opportunities, which have hurt the Knicks in this series.
And can you expect a big moment from Mikal Bridges, as we've seen in Games 1, Games 3? Talk to me about Mikal Bridges' influence in this series.
Mikal Bridges has been earning his stripes in the playoffs on the heels of a 5-pick trade in which he's had an up-and-down season. The playoffs, which I call money time, is when Mikal Bridges has really shined bright. He's earned that orange and blue jersey this year.
And it's going to be a big party, hopefully something to celebrate. It'll be the first time the Knicks make it to the Eastern Conference Finals should they advance. So we'll be watching. Tip-off is in Boston, 7 p.m. We'll see. Steve, Natasha.
Well, exciting stuff. Good deal. Thanks, Kendall.
For the entire series, the entire playoffs, we were looking for that 48-minute Knick clinic. When were they going to put it all together? And that's why, after Game 5, it's like, I was tight, but even though they got beat down, it was a good beat down. It was a wake-up call like, listen, it's right there for you, but you have to go take it. You have to take it. And Game 5, I thought they got sped up in the mental mind games. And look, give credit to Boston. They were ferocious. But tonight, you got 48 minutes of Knick ferocity. And not only that, they played smart. They were locked in defensively. Like all my game keys came through. Karl-Anthony Towns, when are you going to answer the bell? He answered it tonight, right off the rip. They got him the ball. Bodega answered the call. You knew, right? Game 5, Tibbs said within the first 5 minutes, we're going to know what's up. You knew what was up with Karl-Anthony Towns within the first 5 minutes. That kind of put me at ease, where it was like, all right, look, Boston's going to be Boston at some points in this game, but with the big Bodega established early, we are okay. And so, I loved how he came out the gates. I loved how Josh Hart, split eye, busted open. I knew Hart was coming back with a vengeance tonight. I loved his ferocity. Cap, how about Deuce? Oh, my God. When Deuce clapped Derek White's joint off the backboard, head up with the rim, the slate went up in flames. Bro,
is slate still existing? Is it even there?
Is slate still existing?
They got time to rebuild.
They got time to
rebuild. They got time. They got time.
Yo, listen, man. The watch party was turned upside down within the first minute of action. It was crazy. Shout out to everybody that came through to the watch party and this win. We saw so many KFTV day ones at the watch party, like B. Moore Mills was in there. Shout out to Worldwide West. Like, just so many people that been building with us from the beginning and on this journey. Will from LI. Will from LI was randomly there. I was like, yo, Will, what are you doing here? He was like, yo, I just came in from work. Like, it was that type of night, so to see this team win, first and foremost, you got to be proud of them and what they've been able to overcome this season. They overcame a lot of adversity. You know what I mean? And like I said in the beginning of the season, I was like, I want to see this team go through something. I want to see how they respond to it, even with a new team. And they have so far. Like, the journey continues. They have so far, but you got to give them a 1,000% credit for accomplishing this goal. It wasn't pretty, but it was gritty. That's how we get it popping. That is New York Knicks basketball, and that's why we're here representing, man. It's an emotional ride.
Such an emotional ride. But thank God tonight it was a wire-to-wire victory, CP.
Yo, let me tell you something. In the words of Cody Clark, you see Mitchie?
Oh, my God.
Don't let me see no Mitchie slander no more. I've been telling y'all since the beginning. If some of y'all day ones have been following his channel, y'all seen the young Mitchie been rocking with KFTV from the beginning. That's our youngster right there, man. He grew up with the channel. That's why he tapping. That's why the Robinson family tapping. We've been rocking since the beginning. I told y'all this was the Block Ness monster. They try to tell me, oh, he can't play on the court with these guys because they shoot threes and yada, yada, yada. What was he doing out there on Jaylen Brown? You not going nowhere. Bro, when Mitchie locked him up,
dude,
it was bananas.
I jumped off the couch when I saw that. My wife was watching the game with me. She's like, what? And I was like, did you not just see that defensive play?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, come on, man. Like, we've been watching this guy for so long. We have to appreciate the fact that he's here right now and healthy.
Yep.
Because we've known what he's capable of, man. All he had to do was get healthy and be in the proper shape, and he's been ramping up since he came back. He's been getting better and better and better and better to the point where you cannot even afford to have him off the court.
Yep.
So great job by him. Like I said, man, Deuce was ferocious. Like, those two guys, man, you know, after Deuce, and it was a great story for Deuce coming back from the Detroit series where he was ice cold and he was struggling badly, and you couldn't even play him in the Detroit series. And game 1 against the Celtics team, we were there, man, and Deuce came in, the confidence, and it's never wavered. He's had a great series and very important for this Knicks bench. A colossal choke job tonight. Colossal choke job. I'm pissed, man. I was pissed. I left that place pissed, man.
I'm sure you were in the building to watch that.
Yeah. You're up by 16 points with 3 minutes left. Everybody's in there partying. Garden's rocking. And, you know, Neesmith, 3 after 3 after 3 after 3 after 3. The Halliburton, you know, shot. Again, man, he is the Reggie reincarnate. From the string bean build to the corny attitude and the lucky shots. But the Knicks got what they deserved tonight, man. For not, again, displaying that killer instinct. You're up by 14 points with 3 minutes left. Close, period. It ain't the coach's fault. Close. Close the game. Make your free throws. Make good decisions. And you don't have to rely on a lucky bounce. I mean, STG was right. Like, the Halliburton final shot, it literally went up. And as it went up, you heard this huge roar in the Garden. And it was still up in the air. It was right in front of us. And the thing went straight through. And nobody knew what happened until you saw the Pacers just going crazy. I said, oh, my God, that really went in. It really went in. But again, the Knicks got what they deserved tonight. And it's like, you know, shout out my guy Elite, because, you know, I went on my IG instant reaction. I'm like, yo, colossal choke job. He's like, yo, you know, it's not that they choked, it's that the Pacers got all these lucky shots. However you want to see it, this was not the killer instinct of a championship team. So we can say the Knicks in 5, Knicks in 6, whatever we want to say to feel good. Obviously, they can win this series. They're the better team. But you got to close games, man. You cannot keep losing focus and not paying attention to detail, losing guys on backdoor cuts. This isn't the regular season anymore. You are right there. You're right there, man. You cannot just afford to be giving up games. Because before you know it, you're in a 7-game dogfight when you didn't need to be. And then guess who's looking over on the other side? It could be Minnesota. Most likely it's going to be the Thunder. Championship caliber teams, championship teams have killer instinct.
6 o'clock news.
We're getting into the debrief tonight. The Knicks firing head coach Tom Thibodeau. The decision comes just days after the team lost in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Indiana Pacers, despite making their deepest playoff run in 25 years.
And joining us now with more on today's firing is CP, the franchise. He's creator of KnicksFanTV and host of NBA Radio on Sirius XM. CP, obviously, you're a Knicks fan. We can tell by all the memorabilia behind you. So your initial reaction to hearing the news that Coach Tibbs was getting the out?
Yeah, Natasha and Bianca, it was stunning just because Knicks fans really hadn't had a chance to fully decompress after a brutal Game 6 loss at the hands of the Indiana Pacers and the Knicks falling just 2 games short of the NBA Finals. But not really as shocking for me, guys, because after the Game 2 loss to the Indiana Pacers, I had heard some rumblings from sources close to the New York Knicks that there was some frustration with the way that Tom Thibodeau was handling this series, from his rotation decisions to the X's and O's. And so it just seemed as though time had run its course for Tom Thibodeau. Listen, you have to give him a lot of credit for the 5 years that he had given to this organization in truly turning this franchise's fortunes around. But at this time, when the pressure is rising for this team to truly become a championship caliber contender, I believe it was time for Leon Rose and James Dolan, the Knicks owner, to make a move on the head coach.
I know you were hearing rumblings, but in your opinion, what's to blame for the firing?
There were many issues here in terms of this team's chemistry. The defensive breakdowns were persistent from the regular season all the way through to the postseason. There were reports in The Athletic, owned by the New York Times, that there were several players-only meetings held by this Knicks locker room during this postseason run. We were also told that during the players-only exit meetings just recently, as yesterday, the common theme was that players did not know their roles this year. And when the Knicks brought in Mikal Bridges, they brought in Karl Anthony Towns. Again, the expectation was that this team would take it up a notch, but the chemistry just seemed off. And it's even surprising that this team was able to get to the Eastern Conference Finals despite that.
Okay, so it's interesting, though, hearing Jalen Brunson talk about that playoff loss when he spoke to the media. He's saying that Coach Thibodeau was the person to lead this team. Was he saying that just to be nice to the coach? Do you think he actually believes this? Because if what you're saying is talking about some breakdown between the team now, so let's make sense of this.
I'm sure part of that was true. And listen, Jalen Brunson is a consummate professional. He is the Knicks captain for a reason. I did not expect Jalen Brunson to come out just after that Game 6 loss in a press conference to throw his team under the bus. That's just not his style. But at the end of the day, there were clear issues there between the players and the head coach and Tom Thibodeau. And, you know, for Jalen Brunson, he is the captain here. This team does have a window to win a championship, and he will be consulted on who this next coach will be.
Last question, CP. Who do you think the next head coach is going to be?
I would take a look at and keep an eye on Johnny Bryant. He was the associate head coach under Tom Thibodeau with the New York Knicks for 4 years when Tom Thibodeau was first hired. He's recently been hired as the associate head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, one thing to take in mind is that Johnny Bryant is a finalist for the head coaching position with the Phoenix Suns, but he was a guy that Leon Rose and Worldwide West brought in, a young head coach who is known to be a good player development coach and have good player relations. And I think he could be the front runner for this job. Another guy is Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges' former coach at Villanova, and Jay Wright. The relationship with those players would lead you to believe that Jay Wright could be a candidate here, but certainly stunning news and something worthwhile watching as the offseason progresses.
All right, CP, you're going to have to chat with us again when we see who is going to be leading the Knicks next season.
For sure.
Anytime.
All right, thanks, CP.
you had an interesting take on how we posted it up online in terms of how you felt. Was this season a success or a failure? How do we actually categorize this season? What's the context we're going to use? And you were pretty much in the middle where you were like, I see the good, but it was a missed opportunity. And I'm falling in line with the same thing where I look at the landscape of the East, I look at some of the power horses that were knocked down early in this playoffs, and I felt like I wonder if the front office feels the same thing, that we get the whole accomplishment, 25 years, Eastern Conference Finals, we get all that, but maybe they felt this wasn't enough. And that's one of the reasons why they made the move.
Yeah. No question about it, man. So to everybody in the chat once again, hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. We're going to get to the callers in just a second, but we are right now, this is breaking KnicksFanTV news. We are breaking the news that Tom Thibodeau has been fired, or as the Knicks put it, relieved of his duties. We'll read the statement by Knicks president Leon Rose in just a short, but let's salute some of the super chats that came in. Shout out to AbLab Studios, $100 super chat. Says, thanks to Tibbs, hopefully our next head coach has some of his qualities, not all, LOL, just some. Shout out to AbLab Studios. I think he's a new viewer and a big-time contribution, big-time donation to the show. We definitely appreciate him. Shout out to a $20 super chat. El Capitan 22 says, dumb move. I see them getting a coach with no backbone, trading for KD to try and squeeze out one chip, a la Nets with KG and Paul Pierce. The locker room will become a mess. Tibbs couldn't shoot free throws for them in game one. Reeks of desperation. What do you think? What do you think, JD? Is this a desperation move? Some fans are on the fence, and for you guys that are not with this move, call us up in the KFTV Discord. We want to hear varying of opinions here on this move. What do you think here?
Listen, piggybacking on what I just finished saying, I think that played a role. I think they looked at the fact that we are losing to the Pacers 2 years in a row, albeit last season there were some injuries there, so that's legitimate. However, you lost to the number 4 seed. And listen, we get all styles make fights and all that. At the end of the day, if we do a draft today to start a franchise, how many Knicks players are you choosing over the Indiana Pacers players? And maybe the front office felt, if we're going to lose to the number 4 seed, what's going to happen in the ensuing coming years? Do you also look at the Eastern Conference as your barometer? I don't think so, CP. I think you got to look at the West.
Hey, okay.
Because at the end of the day, the West is a gauntlet.
OKC seems built to last, man.
Exactly. That's what you got to look at. This is not about also just getting to the finals. I mean, you saw the sentiments this year. People are saying, well, it doesn't really matter who would have went to the finals. They had no chance against OKC. I would have liked to seen it. Just because, again, when I look at our individual talent, I still like to see it against OKC. Styles make fights. I think we might have actually matched up better against OKC, because I think the Pacers is going to have trouble with a lot of those defenders. At the end of the day, the finals, you're going to need your scorers. Brunson's isolation style might have fit better, because I don't know how the Pacers are going to get those it factor, those wannabe buckets when the game gets into crunch time against OKC. So with that said, I think the front office looked at the fact that how far can we go? Here's the other thing too, CP. We've seen the improvements of Thibodeau to what you said everyone sees. It seems like they've come whenever there's been pressure to do so. And he's tweaked it, but a little bit, right? Like, we're asking for the rotations. It had to take for us to be down 0-2 for those things to start to happen.
And then he reverted back. The Mitch decision. Whose decision was that?
And then, even after he made the decision and he got some bench players, the following game, he reverted back. Right? And then we're like, so I think when you deal with someone like that, you just think about it. You just say, what really is going to improve next year from that perspective if we feel that we need someone that has to be flexible in those areas? Tibbs is who he is. And I don't see how, like, in other words, if you keep him next year, the rookies, the Kolex and the Hukportis and the Dadier, you're probably looking to move them for ready now players. Because what makes you think He didn't play Kolek and these guys the whole year. You mean to tell me that you bring back Thibodeau and all of a sudden Thibodeau's really going to bank on those, a 19-year-old turning 20, where next year he would have to win? People were saying give him one more year. Well, if you're saying give him one more year, that means next year he has to win. So you're telling me that he's going to all of a sudden shift his whole philosophy and start to play some of the guys that he doesn't know if they're ready to win now. So right. I think you got to a point where the philosophy doesn't fit where the organization wants to go, and it probably doesn't even fit the way the CBA and the NBA is going. This is a guy that needs veterans, short rotations, ready now players. He'll play a young player if he's mature, if he gives you some of the things that he wants now.
But I did stress this on the show, and we did put this out on social media in terms of what the Knicks are going to be looking for here with the next head coach. Maximizing the roster talent. You can make the argument and say, yes, the team had it was 5th ranked offense in the league and all that. Yeah, they had their bright spots on the Tibbs last year. Let's give Tibbs a lot of credit. In the playoffs, those things kind of grinded to a halt. And it just seemed very, yes, playoff defenses are hard, they're gritty, but the Knicks offense just seemed like it was a grind. Every possession. There was no cohesion there. Yes, they relied on their talents and the isolation brilliance of a Brunson and a Towns, but they just didn't have any more flow to it. So they want to see this next head coach and Mike Brown be able to enhance the chemistry and the cohesiveness amongst this roster, and specifically with Mikal Bridges, should he still be here, Karl Anthony Towns, and Jalen Brunson. And from the people I speak to, they feel like Mike Brown can do the job. Whether you guys agree or disagree, time will tell whether he's the guy for the job. They feel like Mike Brown can be the guy to enhance this roster and get the most out of it. Because remember, you have a sizable investment now in this roster. The new CBA rules make it very difficult to build. So they want that. Secondly, they want someone who's more collaborative with the front office. I was told that even during the coaching search and during the interviews that these coaching candidates, they were going to meet not just with the front office, but even with the medical staff. They want top to bottom communication and collaboration. Not a knock on Tibbs, but evidently they didn't feel like that was present and effective last year or during the Tibbs tenure. So we'll see. But certainly they want that. And Leon Rose, even when Leon Rose, in the few times that he was on record, whether it was the canned interviews, the prepared responses, whatever it is, he did mention that when he first got here, what he was looking for in a head coach. But clearly they didn't see that enough from Tibbs. Last point of emphasis, last point in terms of what they're looking for. They are driving home player development heavy with this new head coach. They want player development. They understand what they're facing in terms of the new CBA, the limitations that come with it in terms of how you build your roster. So they want a revolving door of good prospects, veterans, so on and so forth. And they want to enhance their depth. They want to enhance the depth. So they're looking for a coach here that is going to be able to do that. Now, as it relates to the bench, as it relates to the staff, from what I was told, look, they want to be able to bring in some of the best in the biz, surround Mike Brown with some good coaches, some good staff, Again, player development being the focus. And what's being reported right now is that they want James Borrego as probably the associate head coach. This is coming from Mark Stein. James Borrego. Now, he's saying New Orleans' preference is for Borrego to stay with Willie Green as a top assistant. So, translation, they want compensation probably. Time will tell. James Borrego having the reputation for being a good offensive mind and player development coach. Let's see if they're able to get him from the New Orleans Pelicans. So, like I said, man, I'm keeping an open mind here.
The pressure on head coaches as it relates to this league. I mean, you've seen a lot in this league.
No patience.
Yeah, here's Mike, 3 years. He's coach of the year 1 minute, and next minute he's on the chopping block. Yeah. Tom Thibodeau, Eastern Conference Finals, gone. Yeah. Mike Malone, championship, gone. Yeah. What have you made of that?
It's great. First things first, you don't want to win Coach of the Year.
Yeah, right. Right.
Give it to that guy. Yeah. He deserves it more.
That's it.
I don't like seeing it. I don't like seeing coaches being as disposable and dispensable as they are right now. When you have ownership that is willing to walk away from, in Tom Gora's case and Monty Williams, some $60 million, that's mind-blowing.
Wow. Yeah.
But it discounts the profession, I think, a little bit. And, at some point, I think ownership has to be a little bit careful about not always putting the finger on the coach. You've got general managers that are accountable in not sometimes providing resources for that coach. Coaches working with imbalanced rosters are limited, so you've got to temper those expectations when that happens. I would love to see that trend slow down, if not stop overall, because there's a lot of great coaches that really didn't get a fair chance. I look at Phoenix right now, and they're going to go on their fourth coach as many years. At some point, it's the players, and I'm not sure how long it's going to take to realize that, but they shifted their roster a little bit, so maybe they're tending to some of those shortcomings.
Yeah, and there's an opportunity cost with that, right?
Yeah.
When you trade for Towns and you got your depth, and you trade for Mikal Bridges and you got your draft capital, now it's on the coach to get the most out of those players. But it was clear that there was an imbalance. It was a top-heavy team, and it put more pressure on a guy like a Tom Thibodeau to use guys who he may not trust, and he's a big trust guy.
Yeah.
And so Landry Shamet, he came on, played well and finished well. But for the Cameron Paynes and some of the other guys that they had on the bench, I'm not so sure that's going to get it done. But it put a lot of pressure on Tibbs there.
Yeah,
it didn't use him.
And I would anticipate, what I saw up close with Mike in Sacramento for the 3.5 years we were there together was he's willing to pluck somebody off the bench and trust that they'll be professional in their approach and be ready to go. He's not afraid of going 8, 9, 10 deep. I saw that very frequently from him in Sacramento. So, 7 through 10 on the Knicks roster should be ready to participate, even if it's just spot duty from time to time. I think the Knicks have the roster to win the East next year. I really do, especially when I look at the incremental improvements that Mike can make. One thing that I think goes under the radar CP, with Mike is his ability not just to run the pace and space, but what he was in the process of doing in Sacramento, and I'll give him an incomplete grade on it because I think they could have waited a little bit, but, ownership sees it the way they see it. But he was evolving the Kings offense to be able to take advantage of situations in the playoffs, like the Knicks ran into, where it grinds a little bit. And you have to be able to take advantage of mismatches a little bit more. And it was a work in process at the time in Sacramento. I think Mike, knowing him, he's way ahead of the game in New York. He's already done his homework and sees what that next incremental improvement has to be. And I'm sure he's already got it down on paper.
Once again, we are talking to the incomparable Mark Jones, CP the Franchise, live here from the Thomas & Mack Center in Las Vegas. Salute to everybody in the chat. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button, the share button, and subscribing to the channel. When you look at the way that the Knicks exited the Eastern Conference Finals, man, I was there at the Garden, Game 1, Halliburton's theatrics, the choke, everything. It was flashbacks. My trauma came back to my kid years with Reggie, Mark.
I get it.
Those 2 games, man, it really hurt them in terms of the momentum of this series. And
it did.
Indiana was great, but that was tough.
It's tough to drop games at home like that in the conference finals. And, Indiana was, I felt, almost a team that was preordained to get to the finals this year. It just things kind of fell their way up until the Game 7 tragedy with Halliburton. But, sometimes you have to accumulate scars to be successful at the end. And I think if the Knicks take the glass half full approach, they'll say, you know what, that's just something that we had to go through to get to the next step. And, the guys inventoried that, I'm sure. Kat, Jalen, Mikal, the rest of the guys. And I think they'll come back more motivated than ever. I ran into Josh Hart last week down in Miami as a home in South Florida. Spends a lot of time there in the summertime. He was working out at Ronnie Taylor's gym down there. I hang out there a lot. And he's more than motivated to come back and put this past season behind them and take it a step further next year. He did tell me that he was going to get his finger fixed. Because CP showed it to me, man. It was making this finger, the ring finger, was making a left turn,
like
then
MJ.
a right turn, and then a left turn again. I was like, man, put that thing away. I want to see it.
The war wounds that these guys accumulate, some that you don't even know about over the course of an 82-game plus playoff grind. Man. It's incredible that they're able to come out every night and give it 100%.
But landing on Mike Brown, I remember talking to somebody who'd worked with Mike at a previous stop the day he got hired. And they said, look, of the coaches that these guys were talking to, coaches available, he's probably the best option. And so you could look at it that way. It wasn't their number 1, number 2, maybe not number 3 pick going into it. But of the pool available, I think they got a very quality head coach.
Yeah, and with him, I don't think you can judge this thing when people ask me, what do you think about the move? I'm like, man, I don't think I can have an opinion until after the playoffs. It's all said and done.
Right. That's exactly what it is to me, too, because, just look at where this team left off. Conference finals, Tom Thibodeau, flaws and all, gets them there for the first time in 25 years. So no matter who they hired, Mike Brown or somebody else, that coach was coming in with high expectations to meet. How do you justify the move if you don't make the conference finals, make the finals? How do you justify the firing? So that's maybe a little bit of a reductive way to look at Mike Brown. Maybe it's a little bit unfair to him, but that's the situation he stepped into here. Expectations are sky high. Finals would be a successful season if you're looking at it that way. And this year with the injuries in the East, it seems like there's a pathway there for the Knicks if they can stay healthy.
What did you make of? Some people applauded the move, but there are a lot who are out on it. They say, "Hey, Tibbs, two games away from the finals. What's going on here?" They had some other naysayers throwing mud in the process, the same old Knicks. But then I look at the goals that they had going into the search and looking for more collaboration, looking for someone who's gonna get the coaching staff involved and the medical team and hiring player development. What did that say to you about Leon and their goals to want to improve, not just at the coaching level, but organizationally, that synergy overall?
Yeah, you know what? Tom Thibodeau had a big voice in personnel decisions. They didn't. Knicks didn't end up doing everything he wanted to do, but he mattered in that process big time. And just go back to maybe year 2 where, Leon Rose could have fired Tom Thibodeau and the Knicks were struggling. He chose not to. He stuck with his guy. He put everything on the table for him. He could have done the same this time around. He didn't. I think there were some maybe minor fissures there in that connection. And so maybe that's some of the reasons why they went out and tried to do what they did in terms of collaboration, communication between the front office and the head coach. But look, the bottom line is the bottom line. Tom Thibodeau won. He got you to the conference finals, and that's where you're judged, to me, going into this season.
Yeah, and now it's as we move into another year where now they're a legitimate contender. And that aura of invincibility that everyone once had, you're losing a couple chinks in the armor.
Yep.
Leon with the Bridges trade.
Yep.
With the move for Tibbs, even a Brunson with the questions. Hey, can they build around him? Is this a legitimate team with him at the helm? I'm interested to see how they navigate that pressure. Bridges' new contract. Like everybody's under the gun here going into this season where the expectations are going to be through the roof.
Absolutely, and they. In the statement I think they put out after the Thibodeau firing, they said singular goal is winning a championship, and obviously that's every team's goal, but that's where the bar is. And just speaking of ownership too, I think that's where the expectation is. This is a championship team, and nothing won't settle for anything less, and that's part of why we saw the moves they made. But yeah, that's where it is, and it hasn't been there for a long time, right? When's the last time you went into a season, having a legitimate thought that this Knicks team could make the finals? We're going back
maybe
to the
95.
90s. Yeah,
maybe 95.
Yeah,
especially the way 94 ended. You're like, oh, we got to get right back there.
Yeah,
Jordan's still out. We got to get back to it.
Exactly. So it's been that long. So that, to me, speaks to the job that everybody's done so far under Leon Rose, but stakes are very, very high coming into this year.
The starters, obviously, I don't think the starters are going to lead the league in minutes like they did last year. But I do think I don't want to say load management, but I do think we're going to see some games that aren't a punt, but are schedule like, okay, we know what's coming up here. The example I'll give is I remember going to San Antonio during the season. It was later in the season. I called the game in San Antonio. They were already, I think, that was like this crazy like that Bulls Thunder back-to-back was nuts. Right after New Year's. And they were exhausted because the Bulls game, you remember, was that crazy Derrick Rose night, and the second half got away from them, but they played it all the way to the end. It was a real fight. And then the next night they had to play the Thunder. And that, I was courtside with Mike Breen, which is probably one of the greatest experiences you'll ever have because it was such a great game. And, again, it's this Mike Breen who's just the best ever. And, it was such a good game. I remember saying to Mike, I'll take 7 of these because that meant the NBA final. It was so good. Now, they end up at the end, it got away from they lost it.
Yeah.
But the reason why that loss hurt was because I saw how tired they were. And we're in the middle of the season, and there was no breaks coming. And so it was like this is going to start catching up to them. So I fast forward to that Spurs game where they had nothing in the tank. You could see it. The Spurs had guys injured. It was such a young team, but they just played such a spirited performance. And the Knicks couldn't figure it out. Who was the kid that made like 1 million threes? Mamos.
Mamo Sweet. Yeah, he went to the Raptors. Sweet.
Remember I said, Mamo, there goes that man?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that was just one of those crazy. So you lose that game, fly to Charlotte, and the next night play, that's an insane trip. You go from San Antonio to Charlotte. I flew with the team. We got in about 3 o'clock in the morning to the hotel. Just getting in to the hotel by 3. And then they played that night. I then flew home and did the game in the studio, the pre and post. And you just saw how flat they were in that they had nothing. That's a game where I imagine the schedule tells you, all right, this is a night that you don't play Brunson, you don't play Towns. You kind of push some of your and you've seen other teams do it where they'll it's not a punt, but it's sort of we got to be smart because we don't want this game to drain the battery to a point where we're constantly chasing now, getting the battery back to 100. And so with that in mind, if you're doing that more than what Tom Thibodeau believed in, which was I'm winning every game I can, I'm worried about tonight.
Right.
It's a different philosophy. So that could, in the end, cost you a couple of wins. But the argument the other way, though, not to get too long-winded on this, is that could also gain you wins if you're not as fatigued or tired on other nights where you can finish it out. So that remains to be seen. But those projections always skew lower. No one should take it personal. And I firmly believe in under-promise and over-deliver. So I'll take it.
Yeah. I have him at 53, A lot of fans are like, man, we're going to win 60 games. I'm still going to factor in the adjustment period to the new system.
Yep.
And just as you said, Mike Brown is here in some respects to kind of be the anti-Tibbs in terms of how he's using this rotation, how he's using the starters to make sure that they get to April healthy, which means getting more of the depth, more of the rotation in which he's got better pieces to deal with. Let's be honest. Tibbs' bench was not all that good. You know, a lot of people want to say, oh, he didn't play them. He didn't play the bench. He didn't know what he had.
But he didn't have this.
He didn't have this. He didn't have this. And half those guys last year are not even here. So that should tell you what those guys were. No offense to those guys. But I do think Brown will be utilizing these guys a bit more. But it's going to be interesting to see if losses kind of stack, if you know, they're still getting adjusted and he's not really playing the starters that much. How much pressure will Brown be on? Because, you know, it's optics, Han, right? Like, yeah, they can finish, you know, they can get into the playoffs and get hot, get to the finals, whatever. But if they finish the regular season as a 3-seeded team or on track for that, optics, the dialogue, what's going on with this team, you know, those two dynamics is going to be interesting.
Remember the first 20 games was always that way to gauge, like, all right, what's the team look like? And, you know, even Tibbs was big about the first 20 games because he would tinker, and then by the 20th game, he's like, all right, this is my rotation. This is who I trust, and this is who I don't trust. He gets there real fast. Like, by 20th game, if he's a guy he doesn't trust, if you're a guy he doesn't trust, you don't play. And you can see it. You see that line of demarcation on the bench to a point where if he only trusts 7, I'm only playing 7. And so that's what he would do. That's what I was always watching there. This year, because it's a new way to play, and there's a lot of things that are different than what they've been used to in the past, I'm wondering, you know, if it does have a couple of, you know, you have a couple of stinkers, you're just not where you need to be. Look, and you see their schedule. The NBA wants to get those good matchups right away.
Right away.
You're seeing good opponents right away.
Yeah.
That's why I just don't want people to start panicking.
Nah.
When again, I'm just 8-8 in the first 16, and it's only a 500. You know, everybody wants 15-1.
Yeah,
of course you do, but that doesn't often happen. So you cannot overreact to whatever happens at the beginning if it's not going well.
What a game, man. I don't even know where to begin, but just to say, tip your cap to these guys, man. This is our squad. And that, you know, I open up to say because the whole debate all week was like, oh man, does it matter? Do we care? How do we get too cool for school and still say we're a Knicks fan at the same time? Like, I'm going back to my travels. We went to Vegas for this team for Summer League. We tap it in preseason with the overreactions. We tap it in regular season with the overreactions. And we going straight to the pro season. So how does this now just become an irrelevant regular season type of game? Right? And then at the same time, Jeff, look on the court at the emotions in this game. Look at my guy, Cardiac Clarkson, as he's willing his guys back into this. Cardiac put their team on his back in the fourth quarter. Did you see Mitchie out there in the fourth quarter? Snatching boards, gobbling boards over the alien, said, nah, this is my court. I got this. Did you see Tyler Kolek out there? Said, yo, listen, man, Summer League, I was getting crushed, but this time, this is for the cup. I'm putting on for my city. I'm putting on for my team. How do you, as a fan, not get behind this? And so, whether you want to say it's for the cup, it's for this, it's for that, look at how the players are treating this game on both sides. Give credit to the Spurs. They came out and they were playing like dogs in this game. You know, I put out my keys to victory in this game, and I was watching that first half like, man, everything I talked about is happening right now. The guards are killing the Knicks. Wemby's imposing, and Cap and Carl are getting neutralized. But yet and still, I felt like this was still going to be a tale of two halves. I still felt it. I still felt like the Knicks were going out swinging. And again, it had to happen first in the non-Wemby minutes. But then when Wemby came back in, give them credit. And like I said, man, those three guys I just named, Kolek, give him a ton of credit. Al, we talked about this I believe on Knicks Weekly. We are seeing Tyler Kolek, his improvement year over year, and now game to game. Because now, as the stage is getting bigger and the moments are getting bigger, you're seeing Tyler be able to handle the pressure, man. He's handling the pressure. He's holding out big defensive minutes in the fourth quarter. Big defensive minutes in the fourth quarter. You're seeing Mike Brown go to the bench. Who's he calling? He's calling Tyler Kolek in the game. That is a big moment for the kid. That's a big moment for the team. Right? That was major. You've seen Cardiac. Cardiac is doing his cardiac thing. Big time. Mitchie grabbing the boards like, bro, that was, when I say Taylor two halves, one of the things that the Spurs were doing outside of the guards and Castle and Fox really killing them. And Cornette, the unit Cornette, killing us once again, man. Give credit to him. He's continued to really excel since being drafted by the Knicks. But what the Knicks had to do in that second half, and in particular in that fourth quarter, they had to get gritty, fellas. They had to get gritty. You guys know what I say? It wasn't pretty. It was gritty. Well, this one was pretty, and it was gritty. You had to get gritty. Boy. How many times did we see, especially in the first half, the 50-50 balls? Spurs were getting them, right? A shot goes up. Who's running from the top of the key straight to the back? A Spurs guard. Beating Brunson, beating Hart. Somebody's cutting like they're losing everybody because the Spurs youngsters are playing like dogs. And give them credit. They played a fantastic game tonight. So the Knicks had to get that. They had to muscle that and channel that energy, especially in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter, and they did just that. With the bodega, the bodega's on the bench. He's wincing towel over his head like Willis Reed. Comes back in the game. I said, I can't believe it. Carl is coming back into this game. This is NBA Cup. Doesn't even matter in the standings. And yet we mere mortals are here arguing about who cares about this cup. Look at what the players are doing. Give them credit, man. They went out there in the second half. They took it. Give credit to San Antonio for a tremendous effort, an impressive effort. They deserved their recognition on the main stage, but so did the New York Knicks. And it was the unsung heroes that helped bring this thing in. The dog OG, 5 of 10 from downtown. The corner 3 assassin, attacking the basket like a demon. Then Cap starts unloading. I mean, it was fantastic, bro. Uh-oh. Here we go. Sound the alarm. Let's go. We got it, baby. Do I gotta do this? Do I gotta do this 100 times? 100K. 100,000 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. 100,000 subscribers. Knicks Nation. I don't have a speech written because I got to tap into the game. I got to do my homework, and I'm eating dinner, watching the game, and all of that. I'll get to the speech. We'll get to the party time. But all I can say, man, from the bottom of my heart, on behalf of everybody, Alex, JD, CK, the Knicks chick, everybody behind the scenes, the KFTV support team, we thank you. We thank you wholeheartedly for the support. 9 years, man. June 2017 was the start of this channel called KnicksFanTV. And it was a labor of love in the beginning. And now this is year 3 of my full-time grind and passion, putting heart and soul dedication into this with a fantastic team. Shout out to our families for supporting this in a meaningful way. Couldn't say that enough, man. Our families have been a driving force behind this. It's a lot of sacrifice. There's a lot of sacrifice for guys doing the show. A lot of sacrifice for guys producing. A lot of sacrifice for CK doing the play-by-play. We all put into this. Blood, sweat, and tears because we love our team and we love the content that we've been able to produce here. And every year, with your support, we've been able to level up because we are dedicated to producing the highest quality of content and having a good time, man. That's what life is about. That's what I want my life to be about. And so I share that in my own way through KnicksFanTV. covering the team that we love, man. And so, once again, thank you so much. Salute to the team. Salute to all of our hosts, KFTV staff, supporting cast. You know, I would love to get into individual names, but I'm afraid to leave people out. But all I know is that if you've been a part of this in some way, shape, or form, whether as a viewer, as a subscriber, franchise channel member, as someone who produces content, supporting staff, we approve past, present. We appreciate you guys, man. We appreciate you guys. Everybody that has supported the wave, all the players that have supported the wave, past and present. All the player families that have supported the waves, past and present. You know, people that we maintain relationships with, we appreciate you guys. All of our partners, I continue to say SNY, Ian Begley, those were the guys that embraced the independent content wave. Shout out. I want you guys to continue to support our guys, Ian Begley, Dexter Henry, the SNY New York Post Sports guys. Those guys have been singing our praises since the beginning and have never left, never wavered. Han Solo, the rhyme animal, Chuck D. Salute to you, my mentor, my friend. Thank you so much for everything. We appreciate you guys, man. TM, the chief moderating officer. All of our mods in the chat. Mr. L. Johnson in the building, my guy. Let's go. Let's go. We got a show to do tonight. We got to get to the show, break down the game, get to the callers. But I just got to say, man, appreciate you guys, man. 100,000% appreciate you guys. Once again, thank you to our families for allowing us to sacrifice and dedicate our time to this. A lot of time to this, but we love it. We love what we do. We appreciate what we do. Everybody in Knicks Nation worldwide that has tapped in with us at all of our events, every city from San Francisco, Miami, Orlando, Cleveland. We've been to many places together. Some of you have traveled with us to every one of those destinations, and we appreciate that. Everybody that has tapped into a KFTV watch party, we appreciate you, man. We appreciate you. When you spend your time with us, you could be doing anything. You could be spending your time on you. There's so much content in the world that you could tap into. There's so much things that you could be doing with your time. And so this 100K, it just represents all of that. The hard work, the support, the dedication, and the love that we have for the Knicks, for KFTV, and for one another. This has truly been an opportunity to build and to build relationships with a lot of you guys. I consider a lot of you guys friends even when I don't meet you. The Talentos, the JJs, my guy Triple M. Salute my guy Triple M in the building. Rambo from Tampa. Salute to you guys, man. Son from Brooklyn. You know, like I said, I'm trying to avoid naming names because I don't want to leave anybody out. But I appreciate you guys, man. Papa Left. Salute, Papa Left. I don't even know if he's in the chat. Papa Left. Salute. Alex, JD, CK, man. Those guys, man, like, amazing. I never knew a single person, a single one of those guys. All met through this. And we became top dogs through this connection, through the orange and blue. It is through KnicksFanTV that I met the love of my life, the Knicks chick. Salute to the Knicks chick. She'll be here shortly. We'll be celebrating. So it's truly an honor, man. Truly an honor. And like I said, this has been a day in, day out. A lot of days, double-digit hours putting in, day after day after day. But it's all worth it. It's all worth it. And we still going. This is just one notch, one stop. We still going. Eric L. Beats. Salute to you, KFTV resident DJ. We still going. TM, if I missed anything, throw me something in the Slack. You guys know, man, I poured it up. The big rock. You know, I went top shelf. Forget New Year's. It's better than New Year's. Salute, you heard? Let's sip on it, man.
First of all, congrats, man. 100K. It's amazing, man. From my perspective, from 900 subscribers back in the day, 2007, I think it was the end of 2017, 2018, maybe. My God, man, I saw the growth, man. And people don't know, like, I was going to come in here and attack you for the Thibodeau media takes and all that stuff, but I'm not going to do that because I'm in good vibes and you got 100K and the Knicks are going to the finals and Mohamed Diawara is a beast. But you know, not from watching 900 subs, man, to now, people don't remember, but like that 17-65 win season was peak entertainment on this show. That was the best, honestly. Like if you're in the chat, I don't know if those videos are up, but if you're in the chat, if you're in the chat, go back to those original KFTV days when we were terrible and we were talking about Emmanuel Mudiay and the Tank Commander and man, and ISO Zone.
Ron Cleveland. Shout out Ron Cleveland. The closer, Jay Boogie. Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember Max was a Frank Hive, and he'd open the call with bonjour, and then he had it was amazing, man. But big up.